Should you get the new iPhone 15 or stick with an older iPhone like the 13 or 14, which Apple is selling for less money? I'll explain it in simple terms. First, let's talk about how the new iPhone looks. It comes in colors that are not super bright, and the colors are part of the glass, so the phone looks different. The glass also has a matte finish that doesn't show fingerprints, unlike the shiny older iPhones. So, the new iPhone 15 looks a bit like the fancy Pro iPhones. Another change is that it now uses a new kind of charger called USB Type-C, which is the same as what iPads and MacBooks use. This is good because you can use the same charger for all your devices, even if your friends have Android phones. But it's not faster for transferring data, like the Pro model. Most people just use this cable for charging, and they use iCloud for transferring data. Plus, it comes with a stronger cable that looks nice. So in simpler words, the new iPhone 15 looks different with muted colors and a matte finish, and it uses the same charger as other Apple devices, making it easier to share chargers. But it's not faster for transferring data unless you go for the Pro model. One big change is the new dynamic island Apple added to the Pro phones last year, and now it's on the regular iPhones too. I've been using it for the past year, and it's been really cool. It has lots of shortcuts and shows me helpful information. For example, when I'm using my timer, I can quickly switch to music or get directions. Many other apps are now using it too, which is great. It gets rid of that annoying notch on the screen, but it does take up some space in your screen. Still, I think it's a big improvement over the older phones, and it's the first noticeable change in the front design for a while. The next thing I want to talk about was a big surprise for me. When Apple showed it, I was shocked. They're giving us a really cool good screen called the Super Retina XDR, which used to be only on the fancy Pro phones. This screen is super bright, especially when you're watching HDR stuff. It can go up to 1600 nits when you're inside, and if you're outside in the sun, it can get even brighter, up to 2000 nits. This makes a big difference, because when it's sunny outside, your screen is much easier to see, and everything looks great. This is a big improvement from the older phones. Now, even though the screen sizes are the same as before, if you look closely, the quality of the screen has gone up a bit. This is because the iPhone 15 is a tiny bit taller than the 14, 13, and 12. Surprisingly, it weighs 1 gram less, even though it has a bigger battery and new cameras, which I'll talk about later. Apple didn't mention some other changes, but it's pretty cool to notice. Also, the phone has a new shape that makes it more comfy to hold in your hand. It still has those flat sides that give you a good grip, but now it's even more pleasant to hold because of the new shape. I talked about Apple's bigger batteries before, but the new iPhone's battery life is about the same as the old one. Inside the phone, there are many changes that can make the screen stay on longer in real life, and I'll explain why. Now, we have the A16 chip, which first appeared in the iPhone 14 Pro and is now in this one. This means the phone is faster and uses power more efficiently. There is also a brand new 2nd gen ultra-wideband chip. This is the first update for this chip, and Apple plans to keep using it for a long time. One cool thing about it is that it works from 3 times farther away than before. So, whether you're finding an AirTag or keeping track of a friend's location, you can do it from far away, and it will guide you accurately. That's really impressive. This chip will also do other things in the future, so it's another reason to get the iPhone 15. There's a new X70 modem in the latest iPhone. Even though Apple didn't talk about it during their presentation, we've had faster internet 5G since the iPhone 12. Every year, the internet gets even better. Now there's also a way to call for help using satellites in case of emergencies. They added this to the iPhone 14s, and now they're using the same technology for roadside assistance. This helps both the iPhone 15 and the 14. If you go up to places with no cell signal, this is something you should think about getting. The cameras on the new phone are getting a big upgrade. The main camera now has 48 million pixels, which is a lot, and it uses a fancy new technology that makes pictures look better than the one on the iPhone 15 Pro. It has also a special way to keep the picture steady, a new lens, and a trick to make the focus better. There are also some changes in the software, which is like the brain of the camera. One cool thing is that when you take a picture, it starts as a 24 megapixel photo, which is still pretty detailed. But if you want, you can switch it to a 48 million pixel photo that doesn't take up too much space in your phone. I've been using this feature on my iPhone 14 Pro for a year, and the pictures look amazing and more real. Before, you had to do some extra steps to get the best quality, but now, it's all automatic. This is really a big improvement. Now, this sensor makes your camera even better when you want to take pictures of people. It has a special zoom mod that makes zoomed-in pictures look nicer and more natural. This means you can take better portraits without the weird distortion you might get with other cameras. With this zoom, your pictures will be much cleaner, and you can zoom in even closer than before, which is an improvement from the old version. In the past, you could only zoom in 5 times, but now you can zoom in twice as much, which is great. The colors in your pictures will look better too, thanks to an update. And there's something called Smart HDR5 that helps your pictures look even good in low light. One really cool thing is that you can take a picture and then change the focus to something else later, even if you don't use the portrait mod. This is possible because all the picture information is saved. I also want to mention that in the past, regular iPhones struggled with taking pictures at night. The Pro models had a special feature called a LiDAR that made night pictures and portrait pictures look much better at the same time. Now, the prices are the same as before, and you still get the same amount of storage in the basic version, so that hasn't changed. But as I mentioned, you can get the iPhone 14 for $100 less than the 15 and even get the 13 for $200 less. Also, you can consider buying a used phone. With all this information, I have to say that I'm more impressed with this year's iPhone 15 compared to the 15 Pro update. The iPhone 15 has many new features that Apple would typically reserve for the Pro model, but this time they included a lot in the regular iPhone. In my opinion, it's the best regular iPhone update in a long time. So if you're thinking about upgrading, I would recommend it, especially if you have an iPhone 14. Even if you're unsure, most people don't upgrade their phones every year, but if you have an iPhone 13 or 12, this is a good year to consider upgrading to the regular iPhone 15, not necessarily the Pro models. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you're planning to upgrade or buy an iPhone 15. Please share your opinion. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more exciting tech videos. See you in the next one.